If you can hear a whirring noise in the background, that's because I've just paused my Xbox to film this video, so you're just going to have to live with that, I'm afraid. This is the second time I've tried to film this video. I filmed an entire video earlier on, and then when I was editing it, had my headphones in listening, and the entire video you can just hear my dog scratching at the door. So that's one that no one's ever going to see. The idea for my video today was stolen from a presentation that someone in my college class did today. It's called My Life in Letters. A is for Arsenal. I'm a massive Arsenal fan, and I have been ever since I can remember, really. I was brainwashed by my godfather, and I've never looked back. Sometimes it's really, really great being an Arsenal fan, sometimes it's the worst thing in the world, but I don't have any choice in the matter. I'm Arsenal till I die, unfortunately. B is for Beatles. I've said countless times in my video blog that the Beatles are my favourite band ever, and they are. Every single one of their songs holds a lot of meaning for me. I don't know what I'd do if I hadn't discovered them. C is for comedy. When I was a teenager, I wasn't really that into music. In many ways, comedy was my music. You know, other kids my age would lay in bed listening to music on their headphones. I used to lay in bed listening to things like Peter Cook and Dudley Moore and various comedy podcasts and things like that. I've always been told that my sense of humour is quite dry and quite sharp and things like that. And I think it's true, and I think that that has been influenced quite a lot by the amount of comedy that I've consumed in my life. And also a sense of humour is pretty much the thing that I value the highest in any person I ever meet in my life. D is for dogs. My family have always had dogs. We had a dog when I was first born, then he died, and then about a year later we got another dog. And then when she died, we got another dog a few years later. It's one of those things that every time one of the dogs died, my dad would say, "That's it, not getting any more." And me and my sister and my mum would just pester at him until he let us get another one. E is for ears. Something that not many people may know about me is that I had a lot of trouble with my ears when I was a kid. When I was about 4, I'd get earaches constantly, and then it got to a stage where if I was sitting at one end of the room, I couldn't hear my mum calling me at the other end of the room, and so I ended up having to have grommets in my ears and stuff, and it's been fine ever since. But yeah, that's definitely something that was a real big thing when I was young. F is for Famous Five. My sister said in her guest vlog yesterday that when we were kids, we always used to play Famous Five when we went on holiday and stuff, and that's true. And the Famous Five was the first book series that I ever started liking, and so collected every single book in the series. I just think they're absolutely great books for kids. Every kid should read them at some point growing up. And if you haven't, then you have suffered, because they are fantastic books. G is for green. I mentioned in my video the other day that I'm a little bit ecologically friendly, and that's true. And something else that some people may not know about me is that I was a member of the Green Party last year. The only reason I left was because I sort of just got completely turned off of politics by the amount of crap things which have been happening in the UK for the last year. And I didn't feel that being a member of a political party was something that was actually going to change how things were. I've always been quite environmentally conscious. I probably always will be. H is for Harry Potter. I remember when I got bought my first Harry Potter book, it was Chamber of Secrets. I got it for Christmas off of my granddad and his then wife. I read the first sort of 10 pages and I really didn't like it at all. So it just got put on the shelf and I ignored it for a couple of months. And then my mum said to me, "Have you finished reading that book that you got bought?" And I went, "Oh no, it's rubbish. I only got about 10 pages in. I don't like it at all." And she said to me, No, you've got to give it more of a chance than that. You can't just read 10 pages and say it's no good. Go back and read it. And if by the time you get halfway through you still don't like it, then you can get rid of it." And I went back and I read it a bit more and a bit more. And then before I knew it, I finished it. And it was amazing. And Harry Potter books are amazing. I is for intelligent with a question mark. I was always seen as one of the cleverer kids when I was growing up. And when I started secondary school, everyone said that I was really bright and I was going to do really well. Then that sort of died off a bit because I realised that I was going to do okay without doing any work. And so I decided that I would prefer to do okay without doing any work than to do some work and do really well, which was a mistake. J is for jobs. I've not been unemployed since the age of 14, and I think it's really important for kids to get a job and for kids to work hard for their money. And I think my parents insisted that I got a job because they wanted to teach me the value of money. But the thing that it taught me was that money isn't the enjoyable thing about having a job. The enjoyable thing is what you can get with that money, which is why I spend every penny I earn. K is for kinsmen. I said that some of them would make no sense. My family are always really important to me, and my friends and stuff. Although I'm naturally a bit of a loner, it's always nice for me to just know that people are there. I don't necessarily want them there all the time. I don't necessarily want them to be really close. I don't necessarily want to open up to them, nothing like that. But it's nice to know they're there. L is for laziness. I've already said that I discovered at about the age of 12 that I didn't need to do any work to do okay. And that sort of stuck with me. And that was the first time that my laziness really became obvious. I'm incredibly lazy. I stay in bed until the very last possible minute. I leave all of my work until fairly late. Although when I am doing work, I do work. I'm just naturally really lazy. And it's a bit of a sticking point for my parents because they're both sort of quite hard working, really. M is for music. But music hasn't just been important to me in terms of listening to it. I've also sort of made music quite a bit throughout my life. When I was at primary school, I was in the school choir, and I was the only boy in it, and I got the mick taken out of me a bit for being a boy and in the choir. But I really enjoyed it, so I carried on with it. I used to really love singing, and I could sing really quite well until my voice broke. And then that ability left me. When I was 11, I started playing the saxophone. I played it until I was 15, I think. Sort of got alright at it. And this is my little claim to fame, I was the only tenor sax player in the county, I believe. And so they wanted me in like the school band and all these sorts of things. And now, I sort of have this guitar, which I'm rubbish at playing, but I'm trying to teach myself to play it. N is for nerd. I'm a massive nerd, everyone knows I'm a nerd, I don't really need to say too much. I've always been a nerd. I was a nerd before being a nerd was cool. I was a nerd back when being a nerd would get you a punch in the head. I'm a nerd and I don't need to say anything else about it. O is for old. I've always been an old man in my head, really. People tell me it all the time, and it's true. You know, the music I listen to, the way I dress, the way I act, just everything about me is just old. I'm pretty sure I was born a 50-year-old businessman. P is for Polegate. Polegate is my town where I live, and it's sort of on the very furthest reaches of sub-suburbia. It's a really nice town, I like it. People take the mick out of it a lot, but I really like it. Q is for Queen. Not as in the band, as in HRH, Elizabeth II. When I was 10 at school, we were doing a project where we had to make a slipper for a famous person. And so I wrote a letter to the Queen asking her what her shoe size was so that I could make her a slipper. And I got a lovely letter back from one of her ladies-in-waiting, wishing me good luck with my slipper making task, although I never found out what size feet she has, which is unfortunate. R is for radio. Radio played a really important part in my life for a couple of years. I wanted to be a radio producer, and although I've given up on it now, I can never ever say that I regret doing it. Among the closest and best friends I have are people that I've met as a side effect of sort of doing radio, either doing the hospital radio or being at university studying it. S is for school. I absolutely loved primary school, hated secondary school, but obviously some seed was sown because I'm now going to be a primary school teacher. So in many ways I'm going full circle. Started at school and I'm going to end up living my life in a school. T is for tea. I absolutely love tea. It's my favourite drink. I drink probably 12 cups a day. U is for unusual. I've always been a bit unusual compared to people around me. When I was at school I was a bit of a weird kid. I'm still a bit of a weird kid, really. I find things funny that other people just find weird, and sort of the way I talk, I use long words quite a lot which aren't necessary. and yeah, I've just always been a bit of a weirdo. V is for vampires. After I saw the film Van Helsing when it came out, I sort of became a bit obsessed by vampires. I read Dracula when I was far too young to be reading Dracula, and then my favourite book series became the Darren Shan series, which are all about a young vampire. W is for writing. For me, writing is just a way of showing off how many words I know, but I really enjoy it. I find it really relaxing, whether it's writing blogs or I'm writing a novel at the moment, and I find it really relaxing to just sit and spend a couple of hours writing that. X is for Xbox. I've already said that the whirring you can hear in the background is my Xbox running because it is just paused. I love playing on the Xbox. It's something that I like to do for at least an hour a day because, again, it's just really relaxing. And although I have Live, I don't really play it on Live very much because I like playing games by myself. And personal favourite games include FIFA, GTA and Call of Duty. Y is for YouTube. I've been on YouTube since August of 2011 making videos, but I've had one account or another since 2006. Z is for Zen. That is the worst one out of all of them, and for that I apologise. I couldn't think of anything starting with Z. But I think I am quite zen. I'm always quite relaxed about everything. Never really tend to get stressed out. I apologise that this video has been far too long, but you try talking about 26 different parts of yourself in under 4 minutes. It's impossible. I'm now going to hopefully start my own little bit of YouTube chainmail because I'm going to challenge 3 people to do my life in letters. Well, their lives in letters. And the 3 people I'm going to challenge are TheJollyNerd, TushaRex and Amandayahh. Hopefully those 3 will all watch this video because otherwise that'll be a waste of time me saying that. So yes, at some point in the next couple of weeks I want TheJollyNerd, TushaRex and Amandayahh all to do a video of this. Put it as a video response please, especially TheJollyNerd because you have a lot more subscribers than me. So hopefully if you do that as a video response, that might direct a few people over to me. Bye.